let's put it this way. By getting Hopkins, any gap that the Bills had closed, I think the Chiefs, for the most part, reopened. So, I think it's a great trade. And they still have ammunition if they want to make another trade.
Thanks for listening to KC Sports Network, proudly presented by Emprise Bank. If you're thinking about starting a business or know someone who is, check out Emprise Bank's SBA loans. It's always good to know your options, and they can be your partner in possible.
It's That Football Show here for you on KC Sports Network. I'm Tucker Franklin, joined as always by Matt Verderame. Thank you to our sponsors at Holiday Distillery, Ben Holiday Bottled and Bond Bourbon. We're back for Week 8 NFL action. Matt, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I am doing good. I can't believe we're to the point now that we're in Week 8. But we are. It's here, and the Chiefs still have not lost a game, and everybody else has. So that's good times.
More surprising that we are in Week 8 or the Chiefs haven't lost a game yet?
I think because of who they have played, the Chiefs not having lost a game.
Yeah.
Like, it'd be one thing if they had like some real powder puff schedule and you're like, all right, well, they're 6-0 because they played like the Raiders twice and they played Carolina. But like, they're 6-0 and they still played Denver twice and the Raiders twice and the Browns and the Panthers. Like, they haven't even played. Who's the worst team? I guess New Orleans, you'd have to say, right?
Well, but like they go on to have their starting quarterback
worse now than they were.
Yeah.
I get the time. Like, you weren't like, oh, New Orleans is terrible. Like, New Orleans was 2-2 and they were like not healthy but healthier. Like, Carr was there, Shaheed was there, Olave was there. Like, when the Chiefs played them, they were beat up for sure. I'm not saying they weren't, but they weren't the higher fire they are currently. But they're probably the worst team they've played. Them are the can't score a touchdown Chargers.
Yeah, the Chargers might be up there actually. I was thinking about this too when we were kind of talking about like the first part of the schedule. Matt, I think like if we kind of anticipated them to go 1-1 in their first two. Like, I think that was kind of like the expectation, or like the realistic expectation, I should say, of just like, if they go 1-1, like if they split that, you're feeling pretty darn good heading into like this schedule. If they split those games, now they won them both, and they've got the tiebreakers over them, and they're the only team. They've got a 2-game lead now in the AFC, and with tiebreakers over
the loss column,
Yeah, and they've got tiebreakers over the Bengals, which I don't know if that one's going to come down to it, but maybe if it does, they have that tiebreaker. And then over the Ravens as well. That's a huge one. That's going to turn out to be a really big one because the Ravens are rolling. We'll talk about what's going on in the rest of the NFL here later. But look, we've got to start with the big news that happened I said this on our breaking news show, Matt. I said the wee hours of the morning, but I don't know if it's actually the wee hours of the morning or if I'm just immature and don't get up early in terms of when this trade happened. But DeAndre Hopkins coming to the Kansas City Chiefs. He's finally a Chief. It feels like we've been talking about DeAndre Hopkins to the Chiefs for 3 years now, and now it's finally happened. So thoughts on the trade, thoughts on the move?
I think based on the player and the pick given up for him, I don't know how you could criticize it. They gave up a 5th-round pick that if they get to the Super Bowl turns into a 4th. Cool. Great. Happy to give that up. I mean, is Hopkins a guy who's going to have 1,500 yards anymore? No. But is he a guy who could have, 1,000 yards? Yeah. He had it a year ago with Will Levis. So, he could do it again. Now, do I think, he would, to get to 1,000, he basically has to have 800 yards in his last 11 games. If that's probably asking a lot. Right. But, listen, here's how I judge it. He is the kind of guy who could absolutely be a big-time difference maker in a playoff game. And that's what they care about. That's what matters. He could be a guy who in a playoff game has 9 catches for $120 and 2 touchdowns. Like, he is still capable of that. And so, I sat here a week ago and said, I thought the Bills' move for Amari Cooper was excellent. I thought it made him better. I think the Chiefs' move for DeAndre Hopkins, is Hopkins Cooper? Maybe he's a half tick behind him, but I think, let's put it this way. By getting Hopkins, any gap that the Bills had closed, I think the Chiefs, for the most part, reopened. So, I think it's a great trade. And they still have ammunition if they want to make another trade. Now the cap space is where you get a little tight, but like, there's a part of me, and I want to say, Nick Wright on First Things First. I was watching a clip yesterday where he said that he thought Baltimore maybe should go in on Marshawn Lattimore. Excuse me. Mm-hmm. And it was so funny because I was thinking like a day ago. I swear to God, I was thinking a day ago. I'm like, I wonder if Kansas City would call it New Orleans. He'd be like, you want a second-round pick for Marshawn Lattimore?
Yeah.
Because the Saints have a hilarious cap situation. For anyone who doesn't know, like, if you look at the cap situation in the NFL, the Saints are a non-serious organization. Like, next season, there are 3 teams over the projected salary cap. Seattle's over it at $301,000 over. Cleveland's over it at $4.5 million over the cap. The Saints are $82 million over the projected salary cap. Okay, so let's say that they've got to figure some things out. Marshawn Lattimore, his contract runs through 2026. Mm-hmm. His base salaries in 2025 and 2026 are $16 and $16.5, but there's no guaranteed money. So if the Chiefs acquired him, they would definitely move some money around going forward because they would extend him. But here's the other important thing. You know what his guarantee? You know what his base salary is this year? $1.2 million. They can afford him. And he's 28 years old, and I wonder if you're the Chiefs, is that a move you are willing to make? Because if you're the Saints and you traded him right now, you would be able to save some money long-term. You'd eat a little dead money, but like next year you'd save $18 million. Next year after that, you'd save $18.5. I wonder if they would consider swinging big. I don't think he's a first-round pick. I think he's a second-round pick. I wonder if the Chiefs would do it, knowing we have Tennessee's third.
Right.
And, like, if you want to get back in the second round, you certainly could. And if you wanted to stand pat, what are you really moving back? 6 spots? Now, I know right now you have both the picks. Like, I get it. You're giving one of those up. But you're also getting a player who's not a rental. Like, you're getting a really good player. Like, I always look at it like this. Okay, second-round pick for Marshawn Lattimore. Are you getting a better player than Marshawn Lattimore at pick number 64?
Right, yeah.
Probably not. And I know you get the cap guy out there who's like, yeah, but the cap. Okay, fine. They'll figure it out. Like every other team in the world does. Look, I'm not saying it's likely they would do it, but I think it would be very, very interesting.
That would be the only other move I could see the Chiefs making, because they are now, with the Jalen Watson injury, broken ankle for him, another broken ankle of the Chiefs, which is kind of odd. I think it's just a coincidence. I don't think there's a broken ankle epidemic going around, but I'm not a guy out here breaking ankles on purpose. He's going to be out for the season, likely. I know there's a video of Isaiah Pacheco walking on the treadmill. Obviously, his injury came a little bit earlier than Jalen Watson's injury does, so that rehab is going to take a little bit of time for Watson. But that would be the only move that I could see the Chiefs making, is to bolster their defense on there. Joshua Williams hasn't played, number one, a ton, or number two, incredibly well. We've seen the Chiefs do a lot with a little in terms of the quarterback position historically. Like, this has been going on for, it seems like, a long time. But I wonder, you just went all in. I say all in as you give up a conditional 4th-round pick. Like what? Like all in to get a guy that you're going to have to respect. The defenses are going to have to respect on offense. I think that's a big part of this as well, too. Just not what he can do, but what he brings in terms of what defenses have to respect. I think that changes a lot on the offensive side of the ball. But now you're faced with a kind of a similar challenge on the defensive side of the ball. This defense has been playing out of their minds for the past year and a half, right? Like, this has been an insane defense. Do you want to keep that momentum, bringing a guy in, like you mentioned, like a Lattimore or another guy, where that's the area where I think the Chiefs could really close a gap with anyone like who thinks that there's a better team out there. I know there's a lot of talk about Baltimore being a better team. That conversation can really can close pretty darn quick, I think, if the Chiefs go out there and add a corner, if they want to bolster up their defense, just for like having bodies, like having guys out there that can do stuff. Like, that's the big thing when it comes down to it, is like having guys who are, I'm going to say again in air quotes, healthy, because no one's healthy. Like, well, you're getting into the stretch of the year where no one's truly 100% healthy, but where guys are out there and they can play and they can get bodies out there. I think that would really benefit them when it comes to this push for the three-peat. We've seen them already kind of invest in the wide receiver position that's been decimated with injuries. Cornerback position might be the next one they have to go to.
Yeah. No, I think that would be the spot if on them if they want to make another move. I'd look at. Yeah. I mean that would be the one that would make the most sense. Now, I see people like, still go get Darius Slayton. Okay. I mean, at this point, I'd rather them go get a corner, especially, by the way, if Hollywood Brown comes back, which is not something that is impossible, for the record. There's a real world where he comes back around Christmas. So if they think he might come back, then I'd probably just go get a corner, if anything.
I think what's really interesting, too, is I've seen some people say, like, hey, maybe get some more bodies on the defensive line. Guess what? Charles Minihew's going back in it.
Right.
So, like, that's your trade deadline acquisition there when it comes to it. And look, Minihue was playing really well before he got injured. Like,
It was great.
I was really impressed with Minihue. Now, obviously, an ACL injury, different animal. We'll see how it goes. I'm excited to see him out there and just kind of what they've got to do, because with the recent developments of Tershawn Wharton, like how he's been doing, like how defenses or how offenses give respect to the defensive line of the Chiefs is going to be really interesting, especially with, like, Mike Dana has been dealing with a couple of injuries now. I think he had a calf injury. Now it's a pec strain that he has. So it doesn't look, we're recording this on Thursday before they have the practice reports coming out, before the Chiefs talk. It doesn't feel like he's going to play again this week. Juju Smith-Schuster, they already ruled him out on Monday. I thought that was pretty telling, Matt. I don't know, with a hamstring injury, go ahead and ruling him out is kind of not good of what happened with Juju Smith-Schuster, but they're pretty thin heading into this Raiders matchup in the wide receiver room. I feel like the last couple of weeks, Matt, we've kind of thought that they're going to do some practice squad call-ups, and they make this move for DeAndre Hopkins. Is Hopkins going to be available? It feels like right now they have like 3 active wide receivers on their roster.
Pretty much.
What do you think that wide receiver room looks like when Sunday rolls around?
Watson, Hardman. I think Hopkins will play. I don't know if he's going to play a ton, but I think he'll play some.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I have to include Skyy Moore.
Yeah, 24 is probably going to be out there.
If I'm just including guys who are actually going to catch a pass, then I don't feel like I need to include Skyy Moore. Yes, that might be it. I mean, I don't know. At some point, you have to call up somebody, right? I mean, it's got to be Justin Ross or something. I mean, I still, by the way, the Skyy Moore thing just slays me. I mean, I don't, like, how are we still, this is a bit at this point.
Yeah.
Wanye Morris has more receptions than Skyy Moore this year. It's impossible.
On less targets. Half the targets, actually.
Half the. But that's really the crazy thing. Skyy Moore this year has played 82 offensive snaps. 82 offensive snaps. He has 3 targets, 0 receptions, and 2 drops.
I guess a third of the targets then.
Like, that's like, bro, are you kidding? Like, I don't know. I feel like I'm piling on the man, but like
yeah. And I don't know, you and I have had this conversation about Skyy.
What are we doing?
Right. And like, it's frustrating to see him continually trot out there, but like, I think it's more an indictment on what they have in the practice squad, right? They're more comfortable putting out Skyy Moore than what they have.
Right, and that's true. Like, the people who are always like, I get it 5 times a day. Like, why don't they just bring up Remigio? Because he's not good.
Right.
That's why. That's it. Like, believe me, if they thought he was Jerry Rice, he'd be playing. Like, they don't think that. And I get it. Like, people are infallible. Maybe they're wrong. And the kid comes up and he's like, there's a reason.
Yeah.
There's a reason he's not playing. Okay? It's just like in a lot of cities when it's like, bring in the backup quarterback. And like, everybody's going crazy for the guy. Then he plays and like, oh, right, he's terrible. Yeah, that's why he's the backup. That's the problem. I think, with Moore, now I will say this. It can't be worse, man. It cannot be. Yeah. Like,
well,
he has no catches in 6 games. I mean, you and I have contributed the same amount of offensive production. So in that regard, I get it. Yes, it is absolutely. At this point, I blame the team more than I blame him.
Yeah. No, 100%. 100%.
I mean, you're asking him to do something he just clearly is not capable of doing.
Right.
It's like, remember years ago when Ben Neiman and Dan Sorensen were out there every snap and people were just cooking both of them? And I'm like, look, I get it. But like, if you're asking Dan Sorensen to cover Jamar Chase, like, you know what? You kind of get what you're asking for. Like, you can't get on Dan Sorensen because he can't cover Jamar Chase. Like, right. Sorry. That's like if my wife came up to me and was like, listen, I'm going to need you to go on the roof and clean out the gutters. And we got a high-pitched roof, okay? Mm. If I go up on the roof, I'm dead. Okay, because the damn roof has an angle to it, and I'll be the first to admit this. I'm not scared of heights like if I'm in like a roller coaster because I'm in like a confined thing.
Right.
If I'm up on like a ladder 25 feet off the ground, I'm not feeling great about it. If she asks me to do that, and I then get paralyzed because I fall off the damn roof, like, it's on me because I got on the roof, but it's on her because she asked me to do it, and she knew I was incapable, and like, we should just hire somebody for $100 to do it. Okay?
There you go.
I will handle everything else around the house. Please don't ask me to get up on the roof. It is not my forte. Okay? You want me to build you something? I got you covered. You want me to hang some drywall? No problem, babe. You want me on the roof? I'm a dead man. Let's hope that I find the deck before I find the ground. Okay? At least it's a little higher up. So, yeah, I mean, at some point, it's on you for asking unrealistic expectations.
I think that is a very great comparison in terms of everything that's going on, because it's very similar to the Ben Neiman, Dorian O'Daniel. Take a shot if you remember Dorian O'Daniel. That experience there, because people are like, oh, how come Dorian O'Daniel's not on the field over Ben Neiman? Probably a reason. Here's the thing: coaches aren't going to purposely play bad players. Like that's the other thing. Like they're not purposely playing players that they think are worse.
It's not like Spagnuolo was like, listen, we got Lawrence Taylor over here, but let's see what Ben Neiman's got in it. Okay, like that's not the way this works. They're trying to win games. I promise you.
And this isn't. I know sometimes I'll say that, and people are, oh, you're just pining for the organization. No, I'm not. Like I think they can do wrong, but I'm not going to say that they're purposely playing worse players. Like I don't think I'm smarter than Steve Spagnuolo or Andy Reid in that regard. I don't think they're purposely playing Skyy Moore just to purposely put him out there because he was a second-round pick. Now, maybe does his draft placement have a role in why he might still be on the team?
Not for nothing.
Maybe.
Okay, I don't want to speak for you, but I'm going to for a quick second.
No, that's fine.
The idea that either one of us are taken up for the organization as if they're fucking paying me. Okay? Look, I always love on Twitter. I get it both ways, because I get accused by every other fan base like, oh, you're a homer because you're positive about the Chiefs. Like, well, they won 2 straight Super Bowls. What do you want me to do? Say they suck? Like, yeah, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt more than I'm going to give the friggin' Browns the benefit of the doubt. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
But then on the other side of the coin, like, I was criticizing Mahomes during the Niners game. I'm like, look, you got to hit that throw to Worthy, man. I'm sorry. Like, and you can't have 6 touchdowns and 8 picks at this point in the year. Like, you've got to play better. And people are like, you're a hater. You're a hater. I thought you were on our side. I'm like, I'm not blind. Like, what do you want me to tell you? It's amazing that people can't just, like, find the middle ground of that and be like, yeah, you know what? Yes, he's a Chiefs fan. Never hit it. Like, however, maybe in the wheelhouse to say they're pretty good. And then on the other side of the coin, like when I say like Mahomes has got to hit a guy who's wide open downfield, and then you get people like, Worthy slowed down. I'm like, nah, come on, man. Like that ball should be there. Like that, and Mahomes would tell you that. Like,
yeah,
it's amazing that like we have this gap in our brains where it's just like you are either on one side or the other side, and if you're not like all the way over there, like if it just. Yeah, but yeah, in any event, yes, I'm sure, yes, we're all shilling for a team that is not paying us. And on top of that, like, whenever I go to Arrowhead Stadium as a media member, okay, I park in Nebraska. Right? They are like every other team, like, here's a media lot. And the Chiefs are like, you know where the media lot is? over and go fuck yourself parking lot. That's where it is. Okay? As far away as we can put you. I'm not kidding. It's literally got to be about a mile. It is as far where the gravel is. They're like, that's where you park. Go to hell. Get out.
Yeah. I'm glad we got that off our chest. I agree with you. There is no middle ground. Everything is black and white. That's it. Binary. 0 or 1. What are you?
Yes.
That's what it all is, and that's probably a greater conversation to what our society has become. But we don't need to dive into that because
But yeah, I was just gonna say that reminds me of another thing that's coming up here in a few weeks.
Yeah, the trade deadline probably.
Same day. Can't wait. Thank God the deadline's in the afternoon. Because the Chiefs, like right as like Slayton is being counted up, the Chiefs they traded for Slayton. Like
it's gonna be one of those trades that like gets filed, but no one like reports it.
Comes out later.
It's like, oh wait, we forgot that. Like, yeah, no, this organization doesn't make a move at a convenient time for anyone during regular business hours. I will just say regular business hours, operating hours of normal companies. They do not make moves.
It's like when they signed Samuel Watkins, just got 3 in the morning.
Yes, that was Matt. That was the first year I covered the Chiefs. That one, and then the Trent Williams where he was going back and forth between the Chiefs and the Niners.
Yeah.
Basically, just like he used the Chiefs to up his money with the Niners, which like awesome, good for him. He's going to keep punching people in the face. And I think I was up late for something. I don't remember what it was, but then I get the notification. It's like 2 a.m. and it's like Trent Williams sat with the Niners. There's a time difference and everything, but still late for San Francisco. Insane.
I was ready to commit a felony when I had to wake up at 3:30 in the morning because they signed Samuel Watkins. I had a newborn. I was like, are you kidding me? I was like, really? Thanks, guys. Like, I was also happy, but I was like, this is unbelievable. So I was so pissed.
I wonder what Samuel Watkins is up to right now. Do you think he can catch a couple passes?
Nah.
Well, he could barely stay on the field when he was.
No, I don't
Chiefs. There's no shot that he could. Now, I hope Samuel Watkins is doing well. I think that he was one of my favorite, like, Chiefs. Just like, I just liked him on the team. Like, those Sammy Watkins and Tyreek Hill teams were, I'll take fun football teams to watch.
Yeah, they were. As much as I love the current edition because they're a great team, and there was something about that team when they first got together. Yeah, where it was just. I think there's a certain portion of that like the league just had no idea what to do. Yeah. I mean, they were just so unbelievably explosive, and like, it's a weird thing to say because Mahomes is he's a smarter quarterback now because he's had more experience. Like, there was a certain magic to him just being like, I don't care, I'm throwing it deep. And it doesn't matter. I don't care what the coverage is, what the down and distance is. I'm going to take a 5-step drop and heave this thing like a javelin about 60 yards downfield, and there's nothing you're doing about it. Like, there's a part of me that really thinks they'd be better off if he would do that more often. Like, I don't care that the coverage says to throw it to Noah Gray. Bro, take a hitch and let that mother fly. Like kind of like they did against the Saints with Worthy when they got that pass interference, where he just dropped back and was like, I'm throwing this ball to the goal line. Here it comes. Debo was like, oh my God, and just tackle. I mean, I think there's because when you think about it, we always talk about receivers tracking the ball.
Yeah.
Corners are corners and not receivers for a reason.
Correct.
Okay. And that's a trope, but it's also real. And I do think sometimes, man, like there is a value in like, go make that corner, track the ball 50 yards downfield, and they're nervous as hell because like they can't interfere, but the ball's deep, and you got to make sure you make a play. I would, with Mahomes, I'd put a guy in that position 5 times a game. Go ahead, make a play, man. And you're going to get picked off occasionally. Guy's going to make a play, and it's basically a punt. Fine. But I bet you 2-3 times out of 5, you're going to have some kind of successful outcome. You're going to catch it. Guy's going to commit a PI, whatever, But anyway, I digress.
Especially against the Raiders, when you look at the guys that they have on their roster right now at the the cornerback position. They've got a lot of injuries too.
Yep.
I'm looking at their R-Lads page right now. Jack Jones, obviously, we're familiar with him. But they have a guy, they have a Jacorian Bennett. You probably go after him a couple times. They do have Nate Hobbs, but the Camryon Richardson. They've got guys that are playing in the East-West game that O'Kee and Peel were doing, I think. They got some of those guys in there. But it'll be an interesting matchup against the Raiders. Any thoughts on that one, Matt? Here's the thing. What happened this offseason, combined with the trade for DeAndre Hopkins, there's just no juice for me heading into this game. I feel like it is one of those games where it's going to not be close. Patrick Mahomes does not lose in this stadium either. Like, he just simply has never lost in this stadium. And a road divisional game, he's also just so good in road divisional games. I just have zero concerns about this game, especially when you look at the injury report too for the Raiders.
I think this is going to be the game where Mahomes gets right.
Yeah.
I'm going to give a real hot take concerning the receiver situation. I think he's going to throw for 350 yards and 5 touchdowns in this game. Because the Raiders talked a whole lot of shit. A whole lot of shit. And the Raiders are the last team who beat them, and they were real nasty about it. I think this is going to be a game where even if they get up by a huge margin, they are going to try to run it up and embarrass them. I think both games with the Raiders this year are going to be that. Where the Chiefs are going to go, yeah, okay, here's some of this, bud. Like, remember what happened after they had the little bus incident with Gruden? Okay, he went medieval on them the next game.
Uh-huh.
And then there was another incident with them where they were stomping on the Chiefs logo for the game.
Oh, yeah.
The Chiefs went out and beat them 48-9. Uh-huh. That is one thing about this team. Like, when they find that motivation, they usually use it to absolutely humiliate you. And I just wonder with all that, look, Mahomes isn't playing well, the numbers aren't good. I wonder if this is the game where he's just like, okay, like I am going to light you up like a Christmas tree in this thing. Wilkins isn't there on defense. It's basically Crosby and 10 guys. I just wonder in this game if this is the game where Andy's like, you know what? We're going to dial it up in this game. We are going to try to embarrass the shit out of them in their own. And the other part of this is, too, you know as well as I do, this is going to be Arrowhead West.
Oh, yeah.
There's going to be 60,000 Chiefs fans in the building. The Chiefs have never lost there. The Chiefs have more playoff wins there than the Raiders. Okay. I think this is a game. I would not be surprised if this game's like 27-0 at halftime. Like, I really could see them being like, all right, we are going to blow the doors off of you guys. And saying, who knows? Look, I could say that. We could be sitting here at 13-10 in the fourth quarter. Like, but let's put it this way. I could definitely see a scenario where we're sitting there going, oh my God, Mahomes is like out of his mind in this game. I could see that happening for sure.
And I think that's a likely scenario as well when it comes down to it. I don't think the defense for the Raiders has played that well this season. Again, Max Crosby caused some problems against Wanya Morris, but Max Crosby's going to cause problems against any defensive or offensive lineman.
He's a great player.
He's insane. I think he would have the potential to be one of my favorite players if he didn't play for the Raiders. Like, I really respect how he plays, and just like him as a football player, I think he's a good football player. Just wish it wasn't with the Raiders. But I do think that there's a lot of opportunities for get right in this game. I think that I just think that the Chiefs match up really well against this team when you just look at all the things. And look, this team's turning into a running football team. I'm going to be curious to see how they split carries and everything. Clyde is back too, which is another thing. I think he was inactive last week. Maybe he'll be active this week. I'll be curious to see how they do use him there, especially at a position where attrition is the name of the game. At the running back position, you got to have bodies. You got to cycle through bodies there. But the Chiefs have been running the football really effectively. maybe they can parlay that into some passing success. But let's go ahead and take a break, Matt. On the other side, we'll talk about the rest of the NFL, what's going on there. We'll put a team to bed, and also talk about some matchups that we are looking forward to for Week 8 of NFL action. Crazy, Week 8 already. On the other side, I'll be with Benny Heisler. We're going to be talking about Benny's picks on Underdog coming up next.
Shop Chiefs tickets and more with no fees. Plus, save big with code KCSN at ticketsforless.com, the official ticket provider of KC Sports Network.
You know when you discover a new binge-worthy show or a song that you bump on repeat and you have to share it with your friends so they can experience just how awesome it is? That's kind of what it feels like when you discover Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for $15 a month when you purchase a 3-month plan. That's such an awesome deal, there's no way you can keep it to yourself. Friends don't let friends overpay for wireless. Say bye-bye to your overpriced wireless plan and switch to Mint Mobile. Mint Mobile is here to rescue you and your squad with premium wireless plans starting at $15 a month. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number along with all of your existing contacts. Ditch overpriced wireless with Mint Mobile's deal and get 3 months of premium wireless service for $15 a month. To get this new customer offer and your new 3-month premium wireless plan for just $15 a month, go to mintmobile.com/KCSNTFS. That's mintmobile.com/KCSNTFS. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/KCSNTFS. $45 upfront payment required, equivalent to $15 a month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for details. Welcome back to That Football Show. Just hanging out here with Benny, just me, myself, and I. Benny, how you doing?
I'm good, Tuck. What's going on, man? It's ready to camp. I don't know. It's hard for me to even just wrap my head around the fact that we're at Week 8. Chiefs are still undefeated. Despite everything. And now here we are trying to bounce back from a 1-2 week, which I have a pretty good feeling that we will.
I always get confused with the weeks. Now, the Chiefs have had the early bye week, right? So now that there's a bye week mixed in, I always think, okay, well, it's just week 7. But no, the Chiefs have had their bye week 8 of the NFL season. We got some good picks for you ready on Underdog. I'm super excited about this card, about these picks that we have here. And Underdog, man, they've got some great just deals and just great advantages you can take of if you're a player of Underdog.
Yeah, no doubt. And I was actually in St. Louis. I know, before everybody starts to judge, I was in St. Louis for a concert. But nice part about that, got to spend some quality time on the Missouri side of the state line. Plenty of Underdog opportunities to take advantage of. They had some great deals still for NBA. And I know that for anybody that hasn't gotten on board yet, promo code KCSN, you get that deposit bonus match up to $1,000 still available. So if you haven't joined in, you're missing out. And as we'll talk about in just a sec, Talk, there's one play on our card where you can get a boost up of up to 20%.
Right, and that's what they're doing on these Boost-tobers. They're doing Red Zone Rush. Boost-tober is a fun little thing. It's like you don't know what you're going to get until like you get on the app, and then they're like, all right, you get a boost for, I think I got a WNBA Finals one when the WNBA Finals was going on, Game 5. NBA going on, I'm sure you're going to get some NBA boosts with the NBA tipping off just a couple days ago. But, Benny, let's dive into these picks. What do you got for us here as you are building our NFL-wide card?
All right, so let's start with the Thursday night game. Fun one between the Minnesota Vikings coming off their first loss of the season against the Lions. They now have a short week, take on the Rams, so a familiar foe for Matthew Stafford after so many years in Detroit. It's an interesting matchup, but I think if you're Stafford, boy, how good does it feel to get Cooper Kupp back into the mix? There have been some rumors that he might be on the trading block. I know that Diana Rossini of The Athletic reported that the Chiefs had potential interest in Cooper Kupp, but he's still there. And when he's on the field for Matthew Stafford, the numbers go up, the vibes are good. He has been a full participant in practices throughout the course of the week. And as good as the Vikings defense has been, Tucker, they've actually allowed the most points per game to opposing wide receivers, including players in the slot. So that's where Kupp is going to run the bulk of his routes. Minnesota blitzes more than any team in the NFL. So what an advantageous matchup for Cooper Kupp in this game to get a bunch of receptions. But because he's still coming back, I think the value doesn't necessarily lie in receptions or receiving yards. Instead, I'm going to go lower than 21.5 yards for his longest reception of the game. Think about it. Stafford's not necessarily going to extend a lot of plays in the pocket. He can for a little bit, but with Minnesota bringing all that pressure, it's now up to Stafford to get the ball out quickly. And I think you're going to see a lot more shorter passes to somebody like Cooper Kupp as that safety valve in the middle of the field. And remember, he's still coming off of that injury. So 21.5, that's a pretty high number to clear for somebody that's sort of just getting back in the swing of things. So I think he'll get targeted. I think he'll see and have a bunch of opportunities. I just don't see him, Tucker, going over and higher than that number of 21.5. So let's go lower for Cooper Kupp on Thursday night.
Yeah, I like that play a little bit too. The longest reception ones are always a fun one to try to gauge and watch for as well. One of the guys I like to do the hires on is DK Metcalf, because it always seems like he's going higher on his reception, longest reception. But I like this one. Cooper Kupp, a lot of rumors in the rumor mill going around for Cooper Kupp. Maybe that could play into it. We'll have to see. But let's go to a quarterback here for your next pick, Benny.
Yeah, the Arizona Cardinals have kind of been the NFL's Jekyll and Hyde team each week. You know, they'll go and come back and have a furious monster comeback against the 49ers on the road, and then they'll go and lay an egg the following week. And you saw them on Monday night take down a pretty solid Chargers team at home, especially after just getting destroyed the week before. Miami is one of those matchups where you look at their record and say, this team's been hot garbage. But surprisingly, their defense has been pretty good. And a lot of it is just because they've played in close games because they haven't had Tua Tagovailoa back. He's back now. So as for this play with Kyler Murray, give me the higher on 0.5 interceptions for Murray this year. I look at this game and think, well, now all of a sudden, if Tua's back and you have a healthy Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill, if Devon Achane is starting to get things going, Miami's offense, when everybody is healthy, is as explosive as we've seen. In Arizona, they've had some issues in stopping the pass. I could see themselves being down in this game. Murray might have to force a few passes. And the Dolphins, granted, a lot of it has just been trying to change the way that they play. But they've been a very, very good defense in quarterback points per game, at least on the fantasy side. So with Murray, that means there's probably going to be a little bit more pressure for him to take some chances downfield. And I could see Miami, especially being back home with the offense fully intact, a couple of mistakes here or there, just trying to force a play late in the fourth. I think that number clears. So give me higher than 0.5 interceptions. Kyler Murray on the road on a short week in Miami, with Miami finally getting everybody back.
Look, new Call of Duty announcement out. He has a new partnership with Call of Duty. I think that I like the way that you're thinking there. I like how that all kind of folds into each other. Let's disregard all the football stuff. Let's talk about the Call of Duty stuff when it comes to Kyler Murray. Because that's always a hot topic with him and how he likes to spend his time off the field.
How, by the way, if I were to give you a number for the amount of hours that I have played, if I set the number of hours playing Call of Duty at 0.5, if this were an underdog pick, would you go higher or lower for your boy over here?
I think I would go lower, Benny.
I think you're solid. I have never once played Call of Duty.
Wow. I've played it. I'm not good, but I've played it.
Never played Fortnite, never played Call of Duty. I feel like, any conversation with like people in my age range or Gen Z, they think I'm an old man. And I mean, I'm kind of washed already, Tucker, but at least with picks, hopefully I can stay a little sharp.
Well, here's one too that could be a pretty good one. We talked about the red zone rush earlier. This is a pick that qualifies for this red zone rush.
Yeah, it does. And it's funny. Sometimes you see players that, if you compare them to some of the other sports wagering odds available, sometimes Underdog will recognize that for these, the number is going to be, a percentage lower or higher. So somebody like Derrick Henry, if you pick him to get higher than 0.5 touchdowns each week, he's already projected to score and be a favorite for it. Right. But I think you're getting a really nice, solid, even number here, plus the boost and the rush boost, 20% for Javonte Williams of the Denver Broncos. They get Carolina this week at home. The Panthers, bad. they had one good week. Andy Dalton, all of a sudden, the red rifle got polished and looked good, and now he's back to, turning into, what was that J.J. Watt line, the Red Ryder BB gun. They're allowing more than 30 points a game to opposing running backs. That's 3+ more than any other team in the NFL. Denver is a high projected favorite at home with a very good defense. Second half should just be let Javonte Williams go to work. Let him bruise him inside. There's going to just be plenty of red zone opportunities for him. So not only do you get Javonte to score a touchdown at a really solid number, but you get that rush boost to 20% as well. Love the play, love the opportunity. Denver, really good on defense right now. Defense with a strong running game is always a positive correlation play when you're doing fantasy. So this makes all the sense in the world. Get the boost, get the good number, especially before it starts to change.
I love it. You can take advantage of those picks by signing up at Underdog with the promo code KCSN. Claim your free pick plus a first-time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. Link in the description. Also, just go to the App Store. Just go to your App Store, download Underdog. They make it really easy to enter a promo code when you create an account as well. KCSN. Those are the 4 letters you have to remember if you're making an account. Benny, appreciate you hanging out with us.
Always appreciate you, Tuck.
All right, Matt. I think it's time.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
It gives me no pleasure to get 2 more teams to rest this week. We start out with the New Orleans Saints, 2-5 after 2-0. Went from averaging 45.5 points per game to roughly 6. Everyone's hurt, emotionally, physically. Good night, sweet friend. And in my home state, it's time to say goodnight to the New York Jets. Aaron, it's okay. You can go back to the dark room now. Devontae Adams, finding a way to lose twice to the Steelers in consecutive weeks. Somewhere, Robert Saleh, crying in both disbelief, emotional discomfort, and joy that it's proven it's not him. The Jets, good night.
The Jets situation is so funny. It is legitimately the funniest thing of all time.
I liked it after the game. Rodgers was just like, it's the media. It was just didn't listen to the media. I'm like,
yeah, right.
I got to tell you, I think it's you guys.
Yeah.
Like, not to cape for my fellow brethren here, but you guys suck. It's on you. You're terrible. That's like if I wrote a shitty column and blame the players.
Yeah.
Like, what if you played better? I'd have more material. It's kind of my job to make a good column. They suck. They suck. And as someone from that area and from that state, I thoroughly enjoy it. I'm not going to hide it. Because look, I can openly admit this. People from my area of the country, a little bit brash, a little bit in your face. Okay, I get it. I know that. Listen, it's a stereotype, but in this case, it's accurate. Nothing is funnier than shutting people from my area of the world up because there is such a sadness about it. I mean, and I have been shut up. I'm a Knicks fan, okay? I was one of the people screaming bing bong when the Knicks looked like they were good and then they missed the playoffs. I have been shut up many times in my life. So I can say this as someone who is in that group of people. It is hilarious when that happens. I live for nothing. Like, some people live to watch their kids walk down the aisle. Some people live for a beautiful day to take a walk. I live for Fireman Ed to be fucking devastated in the fourth quarter on national television, okay? Like, there is nothing that makes me happier than when the Jets have made some backbreaking mistake at MetLife and they show Fireman Ed just slumped over a railing face down. It is the greatest thing in the world. And I loved it. I don't know if you caught this. After their last home game,
I didn't see this.
He put out, I think it was on Instagram, a video claiming that the Jets don't put him on the video board enough, that they don't do it as much, and it's a concerted effort to hold him down. Bro, go fuck yourself. You're the worst kind of person. Nobody's at the game for you, bud. It's not about you. Oh my God, you're the absolute worst. Like, as long as that guy shows up and hurts them, they can't lose enough. The worst. And you know what? I won't even claim him as like, well, he's a New Yorker. No. You don't see about the Giants doing that. Like, it's
True.
him. Okay? Believe me, I used to go to Devils games all the time as a kid. There's nobody in Devils games doing that. Nobody at the Rangers games does that. Like,
Right.
Nobody at the Knicks does that. Like, Spike Lee is a huge Knicks fan, but like, it's not about Spike Lee. Like, he's more than happy to support side and watch the game. Fireman Ed is about Fireman Ed more than he's about the Jets. And buddy, rest, because your season's over. Your team stinks.
I did find it very funny that they did trade for Devontae Adams. You know what, and Matt, I don't know if we talked about that on the show. Like, I don't even know if like that even, we might have mentioned it, but I don't know if we like dove into it a whole lot. Like, that team, they weren't a Devontae Adams away from winning. Like that's the thing too, is that like, I didn't think that really moved the whole needle for like for that team at all. Like, they need so much more than Devontae Adams.
I gave them a terrible grade for Sports Illustrated. They did a trade grade for that thing. And I gave them I didn't give them a D. And I was like, the reasoning is, when is the last time a team 2 games under 500 gave up a top 100 pick for a 31-year-old player?
They're paying his whole contract, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. Yeah. Like,
Insane.
What are you doing?
Insane.
But again, this all goes back to there's no institutional control. None. It is just, hey, Aaron, you want Devontae? We can go get you Devontae. Why don't they just bring back Jordy Nelson and be done with it? Like, why? I mean, what else you got? And I always love when he goes on like McAfee every week and he's like, well, I don't have any control over what. No. You have no control. Absolutely. Sure, man. You have no clue what's going on. Which, by the way, I'm not holding against you. You don't think Mahomes is some freaking Mahomes? Well, you don't think Mahomes is ever like, what do you think? Like, Veach made the trade for DeAndre Hopkins and then called Pat up. Like, hey, Pat, by the way.
Guess what I did?
Yeah, I mean, come on. You don't think there's some kind of a heads up like we might be doing this? I'm not saying that Mahomes has to sign off, but you don't think he has any clue what's going on, especially when they're going to move on offense? Of course he does. That's normal. So to sit there and be like, I had no idea. I didn't know. How could I possibly have known? Or, I don't know, Aaron. Are you alive? Are you functioning? Do you have ears? I mean, it's like, it's such an insult to anyone's intelligence with a brain that, oh no, I had no idea. I couldn't possibly have known that. How could I have known that? So you broke his fuck out of here. Of course you know. Well, don't try to snell everybody.
Aaron Rodgers is just a personal insult to anyone with a brain. Just like him as an individual.
Dude, I made a joke, and it was the most innocent fucking thing in the offseason. It was something like, he was at like Yankee Stadium or something. And somebody put a tweet up of, like, and he had this face he was making. He was like pointing out of the skybox, and somebody was like, "Oh, like caption the photo." And so I just captioned it. I'm paraphrasing, but I was like, "See the moon? It's not real. It's a deep fake." And that's all I put. I must have had 200 people reply to me. Like, you just hate him because you probably got vaxxed. Like, and I was like, "All right, bro, you got to calm down." Like, it's not that serious, man. Like, it's a joke, for God's sake. Breathe. Like, oh my God. Like, you know who's not defending him like that? Anyone who's normal. Like, I just can't imagine. But man, I'll tell you, there's some fun people. There's some fun people.
Yeah, I didn't understand that. I guess I did understand it because Aaron Rodgers wanted to have his friends with him because he has Alan Lazard on that team. So, like, he sucks. And he still has a job, which is because he's Aaron Rodgers' friend. Or just Aaron Rodgers is used to him, basically. I don't even know if they're friends, because it looks like he gets pissed off with him all the time. But he just kind of knows what Aaron Rodgers wants to do. And then him throwing the interception to Mike Williams to to prove a point is insane. Like, him, awful throw, number one. Yeah, Mike Williams might have ran the wrong route, but, golly, But then don't throw it. Yeah, I mean, he just did it to prove a point.
Wait, what are you doing? He ran the wrong route, so I welded at him. Like, okay, great. That's how you lose football game. Good job. Way to go.
It's crazy. The Jets are a crazy organization. Tua Tagovailoa will be back and playing quarterback again. Won't be wearing the Guardian cap. I thought that was an interesting little nugget from him there. Said it was a personal choice of his not to wear the Guardian cap. Yep. Maybe because it looks dumb. Maybe if they look the Guardian cap will maybe put some horns on it. Maybe people will wear it more. Make it look cool. Put some fire flames maybe on it. Maybe then people will want to wear the Guardian cap. I don't know. Just spitballing here. They can have that idea for free.
Yeah. Look, I mean, you do you, man, but I'd probably go with the Guardian cap at this point.
I agree, yes. I would that to be clear. That's my stance as well. You should probably, if you've had 3 concussions in the past 30 seconds, that you should probably wear a Guardian cap.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it kind of looks silly, but I think that's probably the lesser of the two evils at this point.
Want to remember your kid's name?
Yeah, I mean, what are we doing here, bro? Listen, you do you. It's not giving me a concussion, but yikes.
Speaking of concussions and whiplash, the Panthers are going back to Bryce Young. They are going shelving Andy Dalton. He sprains his thumb in a car crash. Hang on, I didn't see that. He had a car crash and sprained his thumb? Yeah, that's crazy.
He and his family were involved in a minor accident, as it was termed. But yeah, he's shelved at the moment. We'll see if he plays this week. But yeah, we could get Bryce Young at Denver. And as much as I make fun of Denver, that he might throw for negative yardage in that game.
They got a good defense. Their defense is pretty good.
Riley Moss and Patrick Surtain, they're going to shut him down something fierce.
They got a pretty good defense. Yeah. Tyreek Hill also seemed a little salty after the Chiefs trade for, I don't know if you saw this. He tweeted, after
and then a picture of a phone. And I'm like, what is going on?
Buddy, are you upset the Chiefs didn't take on your massive contract when they have $15 in cap space?
I'll tell you what, though. If I was Veach and I saw that, I'd call him up and be, hey, you up? How badly do you want out? Because if you're willing to go out in front of the microphone in the locker room and say you demand a trade to the Chiefs, we'll make it happen for you. Yeah.
Yeah, and call up Drew Rosenhaus, see can we shuffle some numbers around here, Drew? Maybe see what we can do if we want to trade.
The funny thing is, man, they actually anything to trade for him. If somebody did, not they will. If somebody did, his contract, believe it or not, really palatable. His base salary $1.2 million this year, same as Amari Cooper's, and next year his base salary is $10 million.
That's not that bad.
No, it is not. His cap numbers in Miami are 31-9, 27-6, and 51-8. But if you acquired him, your cap number would be 1.2 and 10.
How much is Miami on the hook for if they were to trade him? Or does that all become the team that trades for him's responsibility?
Well, so they're
pinning the deal, I guess.
They would eat, I believe it is $25 million dead money, but next year they would save 39.2.
Huh. Interesting.
Hey, screw you want a first and a third? What can we do for you? Bill's Twitter might actually cease to exist. Is that right?
Oh, yes. No, if the Chiefs got Tyreek Hill back, yeah. Put him in Xavier.
I would like to see him do it just for the sheer, yes. It's like that one, meme where they have, that, I didn't know what it's from, that woman who's, down, on her knees screaming at the top of her lungs. I feel like that was just be the entire NFL at that point. Why, God, why?
It would be. God. Well, look, I've always wanted to see Tyreek Hill back in Kansas City. Maybe now is the time. Who knows? Maybe they'll work something out. Looking here, we got a good Thursday night game, actually. Minnesota at LA, but it's a good matchup on paper, which never turned to fruition for Thursday night games. Thursday night games always suck. So, Sunday night, Dallas at San Francisco. Good news. Cowboys back in prime time. we went without him for a little bit, but guess what? Who else is in prime time, Matt?
Oh, I know it. Goddamn. Excuse me. The Steelers and Giants, who we talked about. Why? Who is asking for this? Who's like, you know what I can't wait to do? Sit down and watch Pittsburgh. And then, like, as if that's not bad enough. Like, okay, like they play on Christmas, but at least you get the Chiefs with them. You know?
Yeah.
The Giants. Oh, my God. The NFL should do the decent thing and just pull a curtain around the entire stadium and be like, this is what we're just going to insulate it at this point. Like, if you actually want to watch this, you have to pay. Come in here and do it. It's unbelievable that this is a fucking primetime game. It's unbelievable. They should flex it to Tuesday afternoon.
It's a dark match is what they should do. They do that in wrestling all the time, right? Where they just like do matches like without TV broadcast. They should do a dark match of like this game. It should not have TV cameras.
This game is more offensive than the Montreal Screwjob. That's in your honor, by the way, because I know nothing about wrestling. But I watched a 6-part documentary about Vince McMahon. And
it's insane, dude.
Yeah. Well, all about the Montreal Screwjob, though.
Yep. Those guys hate each other.
So that was...
Do not like each other.
Gotta say, though, by the way, as someone who does not know a lot about wrestling, like, actually really good documentary.
Yeah.
Yep. Sat there and watched it. I will say, again, I do not know anything, but I've had roommates who are, like, huge, like, wrestling fans. Like, I'd sit there, I was like a bag of chips and watch it with them and just have a good time. I still think Mankind in Pittsburgh is the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. Like, when he gets thrown off that cage and goes through the table from like 60 feet up, it's wild. Like,
and later in that match, he goes through the cage on accident.
Yeah, it wasn't intentional. Jeez, I remember one of my buddies showed me that, and then he knew, of course, what was going to happen. I was like, "This is a crazy." I'm like, "If this happened every show, bro, I'm in." Like, I'm the hell with all these stupid storylines. Just give me that. Give me some guy blowing through a table from 60 feet up. With Jim Ross being like, "Good God Almighty, this man alive is my witness." You know, like all that. My favorite thing coming out of the Niners game, by the way, was somebody put Mahomes' run over Mustafa to Jim Ross.
Yes.
Oh no! You know, God Almighty, it's killed him. Awesome.
An incredible run. Yeah, so you got those national broadcasts to look forward to. This is the map segment of the show where I look at the maps and I tell you what Kansas City games get. Philadelphia at Cincinnati in the CBS early slot. It looks like most of the country is getting that outside of like, the teams that are actually playing. Right. Indianapolis at Houston is also in that slot. New York at New England. The Jets at the Patriots. Golly, that game. And Baltimore at Cleveland. Oh, interesting. Okay. Jameis Winston special, by the way, for that one. Bailey Zappi now the backup quarterback. Oh, they are in a dark spot if Bailey Zappi is their backup quarterback.
Good time.
Yeah. Bailey Zappi, actually, fun fact about him, not good. So, like, that's...
no, he's not good.
Yeah. So they're in an interesting spot in Cleveland. That map looks fairly normal. Besides Jacksonville getting Indianapolis at Houston, but just because I think that's a divisional game, that's why Jacksonville has it. But like that map looks like it should.
The only map that I think is funny this week is the Fox map, which, for reasons I can't understand, Oklahoma is getting the Atlanta-Tampa game. Is that just because of Mayfield? Like, is that the reason?
Probably.
Okay.
But also the boot heel is getting that too. The Missouri boot heel in Cape Girardeau is also getting Atlanta at Tampa Bay.
Yeah, you're going to accept that in your life. Yeah. It's going to happen. Yeah, I'm a little confused. But other than that, I think it's fairly, like, okay. Not a wild map this week. Like, actually pretty normal.
Yep. Kansas City obviously is getting Kansas City, Vegas, Carolina, Denver. Yeah, it's all very, very normal. The Chicago-Washington one is pretty interesting if you look at the CBS late map because, like, Seattle gets that one. And so does Alaska, by the way. Chicago, the Bears at the not football team, Commanders. There we go. Took me a minute to get there. And, like, all of the Midwest, like Minnesota, Green Bay is getting that one, probably because of divisional game. But then, like, the Southeastern, part of the country's getting that one as well.
By the way, the Chiefs just tweeted out official DeAndre Hopkins to the Chiefs.
There we go. I knew if we were podcasted long enough, we'd get the official recording. Officially a Chief. There he is. Hopkins led the NFL in targets, catches, receiving yards, receiving first downs, and catches of 25-plus yards since 2013 per Matt McMullen at KC Chiefs _Matt on Twitter. Caught 75 passes for 1,057 yards and 7 touchdowns last year. Also, the picture they used on the graphic is him in the Oilers throwbacks. I love those uniforms, but I kind of feel like it's a little bit of stolen valor, Matt.
Yeah. Oh, it's not kind of.
It is stolen valor.
Yeah.
It would be like if the Oklahoma City Thunder wore Seattle Supersonics.
Blasphemy.
That would not fly. That would not be okay.
No. I feel like there would be mass exodus from the city of Seattle down to Oklahoma City.
Oh, yeah.
And we would have, like, Civil War 1.5. Like, absolute battle royale for justice.
That would be the first start. That would be the shot around the world of the Civil War.
Yeah, a bunch of people coming out from Seattle. That'd be something for people to learn 300 years from now. Like, how'd that war start? Well, Seattle went down to Oklahoma City over some uniforms, and
wait, that's what started it?
Things really broke out.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, no, that is what started it.
I feel like nobody would come to Oklahoma City's defense. People would be like,
yeah, it's a bad city. Sorry if you're.
Hey, yeah, you guys have
city. It's not a great city.
Yeah. You ever been to Oklahoma City?
Through it. I don't want to be. I don't want to go through it.
One of the states I've never been in, Oklahoma.
You've never been to Oklahoma?
Why the hell would I be?
Well, just driving to Texas, like, oh, I guess you're on the other side. No.
I'm gonna fly to Texas. Yeah, no, I've been to Houston.
Look, the drive from Kansas City, the drive to Dallas, not bad at all, because straight 35, right? So, like, you drove down.
What was it, like 8 hours?
7, maybe? 6?
Yeah. No, if I lived in Kansas City, I had to go to Dallas, so I would definitely drive. But.
Yeah, it's not. And so when Missouri played in the Cotton Bowl, which they don't play that game in the Cotton Bowl, which is a travesty. Number one,
at AT&T, which is a joke. Yeah.
It's stupid. Play at the actual Cotton Bowl. I did like that trip in like 2 days. Like I drove down the day of the game and then left like the next morning, which super easy drive. I always like going down to Dallas because it is so easy. It's a lot easier than driving out to Vegas, which Matt, BJ, and I did twice.
Yeah, I fought that.
It's a lot further to drive west than it is east. Like it just takes a lot longer. I remember I drove to New York like when I didn't drive. My family and I went on a road trip to New York. Right? It took it was a couple of days of driving, but like it felt like you were making up ground as you went out east because the states are smaller, right? It's like, yeah, wow, I'm really making up some ground. You go out west, you're like, I'm still in Kansas. Sorry, guys.
Never driven through Kansas. I've been in Kansas. Never driven through it. I've never been to Nebraska. Never been. Yeah, no.
South Dakota. You've been to South Dakota?
Still here. My dad actually went to South Dakota like a month ago for the first time. Went to the Badlands, Black Hill.
Badlands is incredible, dude.
Yeah, there's a skit on Family Guy where they make fun of North Dakota, and it's one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. Like, we're not even the best Dakota, and then they just launch into this whole thing. No, I've never been. I've been to probably like 30, 31 in the States, something like that. But I mean, a lot of mine, like the whole Eastern Seaboard, a lot of the Midwest.
Yeah.
Been to Texas, been to Alabama many times for Mobile for the Senior Bowl.
Mobile, yeah.
Been to California, been to Arizona, been to Colorado. But yeah, man, like the Dakotas, Nebraska, Oklahoma, never been to New Mexico.
Interesting.
Yeah.
We drove through New Mexico. BJ and I stopped at the Breaking Bad house.
Oh yeah.
In Albuquerque.
Okay, there you go.
The person who lives there sucks. I don't know them personally, but like they put up like fences and they're like, "Don't stop in front of our drive." Well, you bought the Breaking Bad house.
Yeah.
What do you think people are gonna do? People
it gets
stop and take a picture.
Yeah, it's gonna happen. Deal with it.
They don't have an entrepreneurial spirit because I'd be out front being like, "You want a picture? $5."
Hell yeah.
They don't have
Be hawking merch.
Oh yeah, they don't have an entrepreneurial spirit. That's what we'd be doing on this podcast.
Yeah.
We have an entrepreneurial spirit here. All right, I think that's going to do it. Unless you have anything else you want to fire off. Any takes, Wes?
That's all I've got.
We did it. We got all the takes out. That's going to do it for that football show. Appreciate you guys listening all the way to the end of the podcast. If you stuck to this point through our conversation about what states we've been to, you're a real one. We appreciate it. Drop a 5-star rating and review. Like and subscribe on the KTSN YouTube channel if that's where you're watching us. And if you're not watching us there, just go over there and just like and subscribe anyway. Thank you to Ben Holiday Bottled and Bond Bourbon, Holiday Distillery. This has been a Week 8 edition of That Football Show. From Verderame, I'm Tucker Franklin. We will catch you guys next week.